All right, I guess I'll do a video about predictions for 2024. A lot of people have made these videos and they're all doom and gloom, and I don't know. I don't feel that way. I actually feel the exact opposite of that. I think we're in a pretty good position, and I think that things are going to be a lot better than a lot of people are thinking. That doesn't mean, you know, you should always be ready for anything. You know what I mean? And by that, I don't mean you should have stockpiles of weapons and food. And if you got the money to spend to have those stockpiles, then go ahead. Why not? I would. I just don't have the money to spend on it right now. But the other thing is, I've been through enough in life to realize that I don't care how prepared you think you are, things are going to happen that you're not ready for it. So, but there are things you can do to be prepared for anything, like staying in shape. There's one major thing. Just being efficient. Don't be wasteful. Don't be in the habit of creating a whole bunch of trash. Like, um, I ride my bike an extra mile to go to this other grocery store so I can get the big bottles of Snapple because I don't like producing multiple plastic bottles every day. And I drink Snapple. That's what I drink. It's not just because I'm from New York. It's Snapple is the only iced tea or like soft drink out there that's not filled with poison and chemicals and crap. Like Snapple is really clean and really good. Um, I don't drink none of that Lipton, none of that. That shit's all high fructose corn syrup. It's basically soda without the bubbles. Like Snapple is actually tea. If Snapple wasn't available where I'm at, I would just make my own tea. You know what I mean? I'm not drinking that poison that a lot of people, and I'm getting off topic here, but a lot of people don't realize how like the foods that they eat. Like I've been to the grocery store with my brother, and I'm like, he the things he eats, I don't eat. Like he gets all this frozen food, and you know, like he buys these like Powerades and those Powerades and Gatorades and all that shit. You think it's healthy? It's not at all. It's chemicals. Like if you're gonna drink that, why don't you just drink water? It's like that stuff, all the power, and like the worst drinks, in my opinion, the most unhealthy, poisonous drinks are diet drinks with the artificial sweeteners. And I mean, I don't know how people can drink that stuff, man. It's like when I drink that, I feel like I'm drinking window cleaner or something. It's like I feel like I'm drinking chemicals that aren't meant to be ingested. That's how I feel. I'll never forget the first time when I was a kid, my mother got some diet soda, and she was like, "Yeah, I never tried. Let's try it," And me and my brother tried it, and we were all three of us were like, "What the hell? Ugh!" Like we were like, "That is a chemical or something. That's not even food." Like, I mean, I was a young kid, but at that time, I could really taste it, and still to this day, if I take a sip of that stuff, it's disgusting to me. So, um, being prepared really is being healthy physically and mentally. You can't let yourself get all depressed and everything. Just be ready for anything, and you also got to realize that God is in control, and I can tell you another thing from experience. You're never gonna it's never gonna be more than you can handle. It might push you right to the edge. You know what I'm saying? Like this universe is created to where you're not gonna face things that you can't handle. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain it. There is order and balance in the universe, but things aren't just gonna, whatever happens to you in your life, you're gonna be able to handle it. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't care what it is. I've been in situations where if you would have told me about it, damn, a badass truck just went by. I wish I got a better look at it. Um, if you would have told me I was going to be in this situation like 10 years earlier, I would have been like, I'm not going to be able to survive that. But by the time that the situation came, I had been through other things in life, and I just handled it. You know what I mean? And I was pushed right to the edge of what I could handle, and even beyond what I thought I could handle. But I always found a way, always. And sometimes it was with the help of some other forces out there. I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? But my point is that, a lot of people are feeling all doom and gloom and this and that, and I'm thinking like that ain't good for your mental health, first of all. Second of all, you also got to kind of realize that your subconscious in a lot of ways controls reality. It's complicated. Go on my Patreon if you want the details. Um, but you know, why do you think that the media and the entertainment industries are so under control? I'm going to make a video soon about the power of suggestion, and I'm going to give you guys some examples that are going to blow your mind. I mean, you don't realize how powerful movies and media are. They literally shape reality for a lot of people. Um, and the people who control the world know this. They know things work in a different way than it seems. Go on my Patreon if you want details. People get annoyed because I mention the Patreon so much, but here's the thing. I'm not, what I'm doing on YouTube is different than what I'm doing on Patreon. I'll put it to you this way. YouTube is surface level. Patreon is deep dives into the way things actually go. Um, and my YouTube is going to evolve over time. Eventually, it's probably going to be me just traveling around the country and filming that. Maybe start doing some lives and hanging out with y'all at night. We'll see. Who knows? But the way I do YouTube is whatever a subject will be on my mind, and that's what I'll make the video about. I can't just pull a subject out of my ass, and it's got to be something that's kind of on my mind. So you should be ready for anything, but you shouldn't ever think that you things are going to happen that are going to be beyond what you can handle. So, and here's why I think that way. People don't realize how actually good things are going. I know the economy and this and that, and it's like another. What you got to realize about that is the economy has been kind of bad for the past couple of years, which means nothing just nothing is static. Nothing stays. It can't just keep getting bad. It's gonna have a resurgence. This is just how things work. Um, it's when things are bad, they're gonna get better. And on top of that, if this is as bad as it's gonna be, it could be a lot worse. I'll put it to you that way. In my opinion, the 2008 financial situation was way worse, dude. They like shit was messed up, bro. But another another positive sign, if you ask me, look what happened in 2020. They they overestimated themselves and their ability to just pump propaganda out and just control everyone. We won that. You know what I'm saying? What they wanted to accomplish with the whole 2020 thing, they failed. They had to give up on it. They were trying to force everyone to get that. And so once enough people refused it, they were like, okay, never mind. You don't need papers, none of that. We're not going to try it. We're done with that. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to try it again. But here's the thing: what did we learn? It's like we learned that they can they can't do nothing that we don't agree to. You know what I'm saying? They just can't. They know that. That's why look, if things were hopeless, there would propaganda would be unnecessary. Now, so as long as they're pumping out propaganda, there's a reason for it. They're trying to get everyone in line, and if everyone was in line, there would be no propaganda. There would be no propaganda. They wouldn't care if you agreed. They would just be like, "This is going to happen," and that's that. So I think you know, personally, the whole presidential and all this, I think it's all rigged. I think Trump is controlled opposition. The good news is I believe that the part that Trump is supposed to play is to kind of bring a bit of a resurgence. So I think Trump is going to end up winning. All this this shit that they do with taking him off the ballots and arresting him and all that. In my opinion, the reason they do that is because they want you to feel like he is this rebel who's going against the system. They want you to be behind him. That's what I think. Maybe I'm overestimating them. I don't know, but that's what I think. I mean, arresting Trump and taking him off the ballots is not making him less popular. It's making him more popular. I mean, it if they're not doing that on purpose, then they are absolute fools. You know what I mean? So, and I see like Tucker Carlson and all them talking about, well, they might try to assassinate him and this and that. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that if they really wanted him to lose, they would they would make it seem like they like him. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's all kinds of reverse psychology and shit going on out there. So a lot of people don't realize that they shape a lot of opinions, and a lot of people on the right think like, well, they do that to the left, they don't do that to me. They do it to you too. They've got you guys thinking exactly how they want you to think. I'll put it to you that way. And the propaganda is so strong that it even works on me sometimes. I'll catch myself being like, I'm on the right, and if I'm going to be on any side, I lean right politically, but when I see the nonsense and the stupidity of the Republican Party, I'm like, how can I side with these clowns? They're like, it's all just nonsense. So, you know, I feel like the opinions they want me to have are not good for me or anyone really. They it's all a fucking game. So, my prediction for 2024 is things are going to get better. Things are going to get a lot better. That's my prediction. I think everything's going to get better. I don't think Biden is going to win. I don't think any of these other clowns are going to win. I think Trump is going to win, and I think that the part that he is meant to play is to kind of bring things back some. Now, I don't think he's going to solve everything. I think he'll solve enough to shut everyone up for a few years, and then they're going to pull some other bullshit out of their hat. You know what I mean? So, you know, I, you just got to be ready for anything. If you can afford it, get some dehydrated food and all that. Just it's good to have around. I keep some dehydrated food around just in case. You know what I'm saying? As far as weapons and ammo, I if I had a ton of money, I'd have a stockpile of weapons and ammo. Why not? But the thing is, it's like the way I see that situation is if things popped off and it was that bad, somebody's going to give me a gun just to have me on their team. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't feel it. If things got that bad, it wouldn't happen overnight. It would take a long time. If there was going to be armed conflict in the United States, you'd see it coming from a mile away because that's what I think. You know what I mean? I don't think I really don't think it's really ever going to get to that in America. I don't think just because it's like if it got to the point where people were that um hateful of each other, where they didn't want to be around each other anymore. I mean, the left and the right. What I believe would happen is there would be a split. There'd be some states on the right, some states on the left, and I believe it would be mostly peaceful because what the hell? If we don't want to deal with each other, then what's the point in going to war? Let's just you go that way, I'll go this way, and that's that. This country's big enough for everyone, and maybe it'll split up into separate countries. Who knows? But I don't think it would be happening anytime soon. So I don't look. I I I don't know. I just don't sweat whatever. I feel like they want me scared, they want me angry, they want me stressed out, and I know those things do nothing except accelerate my aging process. So, and they make me easier to control. So I try to stay calm. And I'm not saying I'm Mr. Zen Master Buddha or nothing, but it takes a lot to get me rattled nowadays. You know what I mean? I get angry still and act a fool occasionally, but not often. And it's nothing like how I used to be when I was, when I actually believed this whole show. I just don't really buy it anymore. I don't pay them much mind. I don't give them any power. The only power they have is the power you personally give them. So I don't give them no power. I don't deal with them. I don't care what they do. They can play their stupid games and whatever they want to do. Look, me personally, all I need is a vehicle. I don't, I've set myself up to to where I don't got to pay rent nowhere or deal with no structural systemic bullshit. I've got electricity from the sun with solar panels and generators, which I would put in any vehicle. I could go buy $1,000 piece of shit right now and be living in it. I've got backup food. I stay ready and I stay independent of the grid and the system as much as possible. And I believe that's a smart way to be in this day and age. When you look at the knuckleheads running things, and it's complicated, but the people who seem like they're running things and making decisions are not reliable, intelligent, um, level-headed people. They're a bunch of goofy, stupid clowns, and it's best not to rely on those type of people to keep your society going. But that's another thing. Why I feel that the future is actually looking good because I can tell you one thing. A couple of years ago, there was a whole lot of political arguing going on my Facebook, and I was taking part in it too. You don't even see that no more. Nobody defends Biden. Nobody likes him. Nobody thinks he's smart or a good leader. No, like nobody even tries to defend the guy. He's been such a disaster. So, and look, I'm not saying it's the Democrats' fault or it's the Republicans' fault. I'm saying it's both of their fault. It's all a big stupid show. But I just don't see that much political arguing anymore. I think a lot of people who were on the left after that whole 2020 thing, they got a rude awakening. You know what I mean? A lot of them, I don't think they are anywhere near as loyal to that political party as they used to be. Now, I I, I do see it as kind of an issue how loyal people are to the Republicans, considering, I mean, they're just as terrible as the left, and one thing's for sure for certain, you should never don't ever sacrifice anything for these politicians. Like, look at January 6th. All those people went to jail for what? They what did they accomplish? What did they think they were going to accomplish? I don't even get it. But I can tell you one thing. Before that January 6th thing happened, a lot of people knew it was a setup. And I was seeing a lot of things on social media from people who pay attention to these things. They were like, "Yo, nobody show up for January 6th. They're going to be it's something is set up, something big is set up." People were saying this weeks before that. So I don't know how they knew it. Me personally, I'm not the type to go protest and all that shit. I really don't agree with any political parties or figures in this country. So I, I I never considered for a split second going to January 6th, but I got to say, I do believe it was a big setup. You know, they wanted to make an example of the people, and it's like, you can't be look. You can't be so loyal to these politicians who are all crooked. Look at how they live. They're all filthy rich. If they were the benevolent leaders that you think they are, they would be living very modestly and giving away most of their money because that's what a true like leader would do. They wouldn't be flying around in private jets and because how could you live that way when your people are out there starving and barely paying rent? You couldn't live with yourself. You know, like it. And I'm not trying to make myself out to be a saint, but if I was in charge of this country, I couldn't live an extravagant lifestyle while my people were living in hovels in poverty. I couldn't do it. I would feel like a piece of shit. That's how I would feel. So I do believe in the future on Earth we're gonna have actual leaders like that who actually care about the people, who they're actually willing to make things better. That's gonna happen in the future. Right now we got a bunch of goofy, greedy clowns, and that's on both sides. So um, it is what it is, but I do believe we're reaching a part in the script where things are supposed to start getting a little better. They put a little too much pressure. They 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 threw things a little too far out of whack, a little too fast, and I think they're kind of backpedaling now. And as far as worldwide conflicts, ain't nothing dragging me into none of that. I don't care who's doing what. The only way I'd be dragged into any type of conflict is if someone was actually going against the deep states that are controlling the world. That's the only conflict I'd be in. I'm not fighting for any of these governments. I'm Israel, Palestine. I wouldn't be willing to shed blood for either of them. Russia, Ukraine. I think it's a shame. I'm not willing to shed blood for either of them. I don't. I couldn't even tell you for sure which side I'm on. I haven't paid enough attention to the conflict. I can tell you one thing. I understand that Russia doesn't want Ukraine joining the UN, and I get that. I wouldn't want them to either. I also understand Ukraine defending its country against an invasion. I understand that. But the thing is, you got to look at your leadership. It's like this these politicians. Are you willing to die for them? I'm not. So yeah, the only thing that's going to drag me into a conflict is if it's happening right outside my door and I have no choice. You know what I mean? Other than that, I'm not volunteering for none of these people, man. But so yeah, be prepared for anything, but you also got to realize that God is in control and there's nothing to be afraid of, really. I mean that literally. Anything you're afraid of, the fear of it is worse than the thing itself. And I've lived it myself. I remember thinking like, man, I was so scared of that, and it wasn't nothing to be afraid of. One example is I just had it in my mind. I was bent. I wanted to do stand-up comedy on the train. I felt if I could do stand-up comedy on the train, get some laughs, get some money, that's some next level comedian shit. I had that. My mind was set on it. So it took me like over a year to get the courage to really do it. And well, during that year, I failed at it a few times, but eventually, I finally did it, and I finally made some money doing it. And just the fear that it put in me was nothing compared to actually doing it. I don't know how to explain it, but it was I wasted a lot of time just being afraid of it and trying to come up with all these strategies. What I should have been doing was just going out and doing it and failing at it because that's when you really learn. So after failing at it a few times, your balls get a little bigger. You get a little more steel in your spine. You stop caring so much. And eventually, I got good enough at it to where if I really needed money and the weather was no good, I could go on the train and do stand up and make my money. So it wasn't something I enjoyed doing. But when I really needed money and I had no other way to make money, That's what I would do. I would go on the train, on the L train between Manhattan and Brooklyn, and I would do my stand up on that packed ass train, and I'd make some money. And sometimes I made a lot of money, but I never liked doing it. What I realized, I'm getting off topic here, but what I realized was that stand up comedy is not to be forced onto people. You, my jokes are so good that I was still getting laughs. You got to be from New York to understand. A lot of people on the train, a lot of people try to perform on the trains. Nobody wants to see it. You're forcing yourself on the audience. So if you can actually leave that car in an elevated state of mind, as opposed to how they feel once you start trying to perform, because everyone's annoyed. So if you can do that, you're it's a good sign. But anyways, I guess that's the end of this video. And yeah, my prediction for 2024 is things are getting better. That's my prediction. And it's the year of the dragon, which it's not such a great year for my signs, which my outer sign is the horse, my inner sign is the tiger. But it's also not really bad either. A bad year for me could a potentially bad year for me with my Chinese zodiac signs would be like the year of the snake, the year of the ox. So the dragon's kind of in between for me. If you're interested in that, just Google it. Google, figure out what your Chinese zodiac sign is. Everyone's got four signs. It's the month, it's the year, it's the month, and then it is the day of the week and the hour of birth. So if you really want to know your Chinese zodiac signs, you gotta go. It takes a little digging, but my outer sign is the horse, inner sign's the tiger, true sign's the tiger, and then the other sign you're not supposed to. It's a secret. So, anyways, appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you on the next one. Maybe the next one I'll do about the power of suggestion. I got a really interesting idea for a video it's gonna blow some minds. Anyways, happy New Year, everyone, and keep a positive state of mind and be ready for anything, and where everything's gonna be all right. There's order and balance in the universe, and God is in control. So everything happens for a reason, and don't forget that. So appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you on the next one.